Good morning, good morning, good morning. Have got a few things I need to fix real quick that I probably should have done before I started streaming, but it's whatever. And looks like it may be just me here for the time, which is fine. Get a couple things organized here, and let's just get right to it. So I'm going to start off by making sure that my my tracks are phase aligned. So I'm going to disable my grouping, and I'm going to grab my snare top and snare bottom of my first pass. This particular song, it looks like I did 3 full passes. You know what? I need to go ahead and put a button up here for that phase align. So how about I do that? So I'll right click up in my menu or my top toolbar there, and let's just add one to the end. I'll start by adding a separator. I always get that in the wrong place. We'll rearrange that. We'll do my separator. And then I'll add phase detect. And just a plain text one is fine for it. So I'll go ahead and apply that. Since I'm going to be using that pretty frequently, I guess I could bind a key press to it, but I suppose a mouse click is fine for the time being. What the heck is going on with YouTube? There we go. I suppose this is working okay. I think there's just a little bit of latency between what I'm seeing in OBS and what I'm seeing on YouTube, but that's fine. So with my items not grouped, I've got my snare top and bottom, and I'll use my phase align button. We'll analyze them first. And we are 2.4 milliseconds off, and the phase needs to be inverted, so I'll apply that, and that is done. I'll do the same for the second takes. And of course, it's going to be the same offset because the mics didn't move. Ooh, that would have been bad. Almost missed there. All right, so my snare top and bottom are aligned. Now I'll go and I'll do the same thing with my overheads. So I've got my overhead hat and ride side. .4 milliseconds. My placement is pretty good there. Grab the second take and do the same thing. And if any of you guys or girls have any questions, just be sure to throw them in chat, and I will do my best to glance over there periodically and answer what I can. My main objective is to get this comped and edited as soon as humanly possible. And we may or may not get finished, just depending on when it's time for lunch or not. All right, so we got that done. We'll move on to the rooms, and then we'll get to comping. And my room mics, I expect to see a bit more discrepancy there, so 3.2 milliseconds on that, which is still not bad. One more set of tracks to go. And some people would ask why I'm not aligning everything to the snare. I just want the stereo pairs to be aligned to themselves. It makes no sense for the room mics to be completely aligned with the close snare mics because they're literally across the room. I need that distance and the difference. All right, so now I can turn my grouping back on. Make sure that we're behaving appropriately, and we are. Yeah, auto align is great, but I find that the built-in alignment in Reaper works just fine. And well, it's built in. So I'm going to start now. I've got my drum tracks grouped at the track level, and I'm using fixed item lanes, which allows me to do swipe comping. So I'm going to just right click my first take here, go to comping, and choose comp into new empty lane, automatically creating comp areas. So that gets me a comp and I can begin to swipe across the different takes to figure out which one that I want to use. So what I like to do at the beginning is just kind of do a pass through, and I try to audition the different takes on each section and just listen for things that could have been better. I don't remember if my performance was decent on this or not, but let's see what we got. Good morning, Dobby, or evening for you. Now this gets a bit louder later, so let me know if the audio levels are kind of wonky. Drop that room mic a bit.
Black robes in the desert sun.
Yeah, Jim, I'm probably going to say that name wrong. Let me see if I can make this thing behave today. There we go. Yeah, the phase align, that was recently added a handful of releases ago, but it's in your actions list if you just look for phase. And the way that it works is before you run that action, you first select what you would consider your source, and then you control click your next item, which is the thing that you want to align to the first one. And when you run that, you'll calculate, and I've got mine set to adjust all items together, but you'll calculate that, and I've also got it set to allow inverting phase, and it will tell you how much of an alignment difference there is, and then you can apply it. Pretty straightforward, works very well.
Black robes in the desert sun. Blood runs where the river once was.
Thank you.
Locusts fill the dust.
But you got to give me credit, I didn't pronounce it wrong because I just didn't say it. Jim side.
Silver knives tracing skin.
Okay, so it looks like at measure 33 is when we start to actually play like a full-on beat, so I may just test a couple of passes here and see what feels good.
The end has begun.
35 rather.
Silver knives tracing skin. Sacred wounds to let him in. Horns in the fire, shadows grin. Smoke rises, let the ritual begin. Let's go, 75. Strike the bell, drink the wine.
What's up, Chris? You guys should check out Contagion Music online. He's got some pretty impressive stuff out there as of late. This take sounds pretty good. I don't know that I need to do much with it. That whole take sounded pretty solid. I found one spot in there where I may want to audition another part because a fill sounded wrong, so let me see if I can find it. I just want to test a piece here and see what it might sound like. So. Go ahead and bring the rest of that take in until we get to measure 71. Yep. Need to slide that back. I'll fix all this timing later. I just want to make sure that that transient doesn't annoy me for the time being. I think I want to try this take a little bit more. It looks like I've got some ghost notes in there that may be kind of tasty. I'll need to get a little bit more of that. Okay, so I think that would be a good spot to bring that other take back in. I'm going to abort protocol and go ahead and slip edit this just a little bit. If I can see. There we go. Yeah, we're going to have some timing issues there until I get all this resolved. So. Or maybe I just go on with this a little bit further. That's pretty good. Maybe move that up just a little bit further. Or backwards. We'll fix the timing later. Right now I'm just kind of comping and choosing the best parts for each section. Are volume levels okay with the music versus the speech? Let me know if it needs some adjusting. And I know the vocals are off a little bit. I nudged them. And, well, I won't be mixing this, so it's just there for reference when I was tracking. Drum beats echo, the bitch gets burned. Pain screams from the valley below. The ground erupts, the fire grows. Satan laughs, he already knows. This is a pretty solid take. It just needs a little bit of adjustment since I've nudged it once. Try another take for that pass right there. a difference on cymbal tone there. That sounds better. It seems like this is going to be mostly that third take. It sounds pretty good. I want to see what I did on some of these other takes here. Had to find the right point to bring that in. And I think that's it. I think we're safe to go ahead and start editing on this. I'm fairly certain the rest of this will be fine. So let me get my tracks where I want them. Switch to slip editing mode. And we'll get started.
It has begun.
I'll start off by paying attention to my snare top and kick tracks mostly. I should probably do a little bit of focus on the hat for this one too.
Silver.
So if you got any questions about the process, feel free to throw it in chat and I'll do my best to answer what I can. Also trying really hard to just focus and get done with this. Looking pretty good on this. This part is pretty simple, so I figure it's just a few milliseconds worth of nudge in a few places is going to get it. But I want to make sure that that groove is pretty tight here. I need to figure out how much to nudge those vocals to get them just right. But that little bit of drift on the vocals isn't going to stop me from finishing this job, so. Almost up to the chorus. Let's see, got a question over here. There is no drum program. This is actually me playing drums. I tracked 3 songs yesterday, so this is live drums. The kit that's behind me that you probably can't see that well because I'm in front of it in the camera. I'm definitely a big fan of live drums. So, all right, we should have that section lined up pretty good. Let's give it a test. The dynamic split tool, it is very useful. I've done it in my drum editing and Reaper course, which I mean you can buy it if you want to, or you can just watch the stuff on YouTube for free. At this point, it's kind of whatever. But I show a way to automatically do this using dynamic split, and then there's a script that you can run, or an action rather, to basically take everything and make sure that the transients are on grid and then backfill the gaps that it creates. But I don't like the results. I definitely prefer to do this manually because it just sounds better to my ear. It keeps the humanness in the performance, but it just tightens it up a little bit, which is all I need.
Has begun. Silver.
I think I missed a tom hit there. Yeah. I need to go back and hit some of this stuff beforehand. See how that feels.
The end has begun. Silver knives tracing skin.
Bring that hat up a little bit.
Wounds to let him in. Horns in the fire, shadows grin. Smoke rises, let the ritual begin.
Okay, that feels pretty good. Let's move on to the chorus. First transient in place. Oh, that's looking pretty good. Yeah, I felt like my timing was pretty good on this track. There's a little bit of push pull because, well, because I'm human. But I love the fact that it's just a matter of milliseconds that things are getting moved. It's very gentle nudges. And since I'm not using a script and I'm eyeballing it to put things on the grid, it's still not necessarily perfectly on the grid, which is, I think, what contributes to it still feeling good after the fact. It's gentle nudges and not robotic chop every single note. I want to try to preserve as many large sections as I can. What the heck did I do there? Yeah, I was just way off there. Nice long section there. That's good. This is a long chorus. That part looked like I was having a foot spasm. Had a few of those yesterday. Let's see. So, Dylan, when I'm doing my phase alignment, I don't do everything. I'll take my snare top and align the snare bottom. I'll take my overhead hat side and align the overhead ride side, and I'll take my room hat side and align to the room ride side. So it is the best way I can explain this is it is physically impossible for the snare sound, that transient, to hit all mics at the exact same time because they're all in different positions in the room. So I just align the things that need to be aligned to each other, if that makes sense. So snare top and bottom are aligned. overheads are aligned to themselves, or to each other, I should say, and room mics are aligned to each other. Outside of that, I embrace the differences between those pairs because they're physically distant from each other, so they shouldn't sound exactly the same. As far as how I do the phase alignment, it's using the phase align tool that's built into Reaper. That's a new addition that was put in a few releases back. I would show you again, but it's already been done. So when you get a chance, just check the replay. It's the first thing that I do in the stream. And before I start working on the comps, I align each of the takes. In this case, I did 3 performances of the song. So I aligned the 3 different takes, and then I started comping. After the comping is done, now I'm editing the comp lane instead of working directly with the takes because I want those preserved. And using this fixed lane method ensures that your source tracks stay uncut. It's a lot cleaner than the old take system. Definitely, and it saved a lot of people a lot of money. I know that there's other alignment tools that are out there, but I mean it's a simple operation that shouldn't cost a fortune to do. All that said, I'm very pleasantly surprised with how good my mic placement was, because I think the largest adjustment I saw that had to be done was about 3 milliseconds. Looks like we are up to the interlude. Tap to transient's already in here. You may have to set your transient detection or your transient sensitivity, but yeah, tap to transient already works in Reaper. Oh, wrong button. There. It's like, why is my slip editing not working? Because I enabled my normal editing macro. All right, let's run back that chorus.
Fire, shadows grin. Smoke rises, let the ritual begin. Witch goes seven goodbye. Strike the bell, drink the wine. Witch goes the wine. Witch goes seven goodbye. Silver bags with hell in their eyes. Witch goes seven goodbye. Strike the match, burn in their lives. Witch goes seven taste the ash, none will survive.
All right, that felt pretty good. Let's work this interlude. Not a whole lot here that needs to be edited, just kick and snare transients. I've got some hat work in there on 16ths that may need some nudging. We'll start with the basics. I'm noticing the hat's off down there a little bit, so I'll cut a little bit further back to nudge this kick, and those hats are lined up now. Same thing here. I'm seeing these hats are off a little bit, so I'll cut a little further back so I pull that whole section into time. And it's important that you kind of pay attention to the whole picture and not, I mean, I tend to focus on the kick and snare, but in this case, I know that your chats are going through Voodoo, or at least this one is. I see that one. If you've done any before that, they didn't go through. I'm not sure why. So I don't have any filtering going on that I'm aware of. I guess sometimes YouTube just be YouTubing. There has been a change to that. Let me see if I can pull up the right video for you, because I had to show another way of doing that. Is it the video that's? Let me reread this here. Video 2003. Let's see here. Yeah, this may be the one that you're talking about, but yeah, I've still got it done this way. I think that I may have done another variation of that recently under, where's community? Oh, posts. Yeah, I made one minor modification. So let's see if those get you what you need. The only thing that I've changed is this one thing from my second post there from about a month ago. And I may have accidentally removed something from that, but I added back an action to move the edit cursor to the mouse cursor. But outside of that, it's the same thing. I mean, pretty much all that it's doing is just changing some mouse modifiers so I don't have to hold key presses to do certain things. So it's changing some mouse modifiers and just adding some action so that when I left click, when I'm in this mode, it cuts to the left of the cursor and adds a crossfade automatically. And of course, my edit cursor is also following where I click. The heck did I do there? Yeah, I'll let that one slide. It looks off, but it sounds fine. We'll go with this for another 15 to 20 minutes or so, and then I'm going to pack it up and go get some lunch with my lady. Hey, I appreciate the compliment. I know I've not done a whole heck of a lot in quite some time. Um, Kenny's continuing to crank out videos. A lot of it seems like he's just doing like rehash of things that he's done in the past, but updating it for some of the new workflows and features that are in Reaper that are being introduced. John recently did a pretty large update video covering several changes in updates from like the 7.4 something up to the current version. There's a lot of the cool stuff coming in the pre releases, but we don't talk about that. I'll talk about it a little bit. And I've never used Pro Tools, so I don't necessarily understand why this is something that people have wanted for so long. But a feature that's being worked on to be implemented is the ability to put effects in specific slots. And I suppose why I don't understand why that's a big deal is because I usually just kind of add them in the order that I'd intended to put them in. So maybe one of you guys can tell me, uh, why would I want to insert an effect into a specific slot? Like, and I'm not dogging the workflow. I just don't understand it. Versus just put. I mean, if you know that you want things in a certain order, well, I guess maybe if you wanted to go back and do something like insert something. Let me think about that for a second. So if I wanted to insert something before Infinistrip, I can just right click and do add effects. And let me just see, just put recomp in there and see where it lands. Okay, and it put it after it. And then I guess I can see where that might be a little bit of a nuisance if I did want to do that in practice. It's also not that big of a deal to just drag it where I want, but I guess if you're used to being able to put stuff in a precise slot, it's something that you would want to have because that's what you've done. I think that fixed lanes and swipe comping is probably the biggest feature benefit, like new addition that I've seen in quite some time. That, and I like the vertical line when I move my cursor. Like wherever my mouse cursor is, I've got a vertical line to help me keep up with where it is across all the visible tracks. Such a little thing, but when you're doing drum editing, it's nice to see that line. Now that edit I did back there, that may come back to bite me. I'm curious to see if that was accurate, but I'll finish the section and then review it and go back and fix it if needed. If it is a mistake, it's not a big enough one to where I feel like I need to address it right this second. Look at that long section of things being in time. That's looking good. This is a long verse. Seems I said that about the previous section too. Almost to the chorus. All right, let's review that section.
Hell rides in a burning earth. Veil torn from heaven and earth. Cut your wrist, chat the curve. Drum beats echo, the bitch gives birth. Pain screams from the valley below. The ground erupts, the fire grows. Satan lies, he already knows. Your fate was sealed long ago.
All right, so chorus. Maybe about all that I've got time for at the moment to finish up this chorus, then go get some lunch. And I got other things to do this evening, so this may or may not get finished today. Maybe later on tonight. Overall, I think the song sounded really good. It's got a nice groove to it. It really is. I enjoy doing this. It makes my back hurt. I need to get me a better chair. I'm just kind of sitting on a stool right now because my high-dollar office chair, the fake leather, wore off of the thing. I was really upset about that. I need to get me something a little bit better. But I don't want to spend the money. But I also want to. I value my back, so I'm just trying my best to sit up. But I find myself slumping all the time. I'd like one of those old wooden ergonomic, like kneeling type of chairs. I think it's so much more fun when it's your own drums that you're editing. I mean, in some cases, it's like, wow, I did a really good job, and in other cases, it's humbling. Most of this that I've worked on today in the past couple of days, I've been really pleased with my performance on it. Wrong button. I know there's some. Yeah, you are. How many tracks in my drum kit? Let me go in order here. Yeah, it's definitely worth investing in. Someone once told me that you should never skip. You should never, I guess, cheap out or whatever the correct word is for anything that separates you from the ground. So, like, you want good quality shoes, a good quality bed, and a good quality chair. I thought I'd bought a good quality chair previously because it cost me like $500 something, but it turned out to be crap. So I was a little upset about that. As for my drum kit, I have got 12 tracks. Let me bring my mixer up here. So let me make sure my math is right. I've got snare top and bottom, kick, 3 toms, hat and ride spot mic, 2 overheads, and 2 room mics. Yes, so I've got 12 tracks on my drums. Those of you who work with live drums, do you do stereo or mono room mics or both? I have a hard time envisioning a mono room mic. I used to do that, but it's just I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me because you don't get the same spatial awareness with a mono mic. But some people get really good results with a mono room mic. I feel like the stereo room mic just brings the drums to life in the mix. Or if you don't have the option of stereo room mics, you can also just pipe some of your elements to a good stereo reverb and crush it. Ooh, I was off there. That section's going to need some love. I'm sliding some of these crossfades without previewing them first, just because I'm not seeing anything that defies a zero crossing, so I just move it closer to where the actual cut was meant to be. Because my first pass, when I was just doing the comp, it wasn't very precise. May come back to bite me, but we'll find out in a few minutes once we're done editing this chorus. Keeping an eye on the clock down there. got a little off there for sure. We gotta be getting close to the end here. It really threw me for a loop when I was recording this too, because I'm still not fully familiar with the songs. And I kept expecting that chorus to end a little bit sooner. But I got it. Ooh, that's gonna be a fun one. I can already tell that section's gonna need some massaging on the crossfades. Alright, this section is done. Let's review from the beginning up until that point, and then I gotta go.
Black robes in the desert sun, blood runs where the river once was. Chanting locusts fill the dust. Night falls, the end has begun. Silver knives tracing skin, sacred wounds to let him mend. Horns in the fire, shadows bend. Smoke rises, let the ritual begin. Let's go, say goodbye. Strike the bell, drink the wine. Let's go, say goodbye.
mics up a little bit.
Torn from heaven and earth, cut your wrist, jack the curve, drum beats echo, the bitch gets burned, pain scream.
Heard a glitch. Need to check and see if it's the backing track or the drums. Right there. Just need to move that crossfade. That is bizarre. That should not be happening. Sounds almost like a mic got hit or something. I'll have to find that later. It's not in the crossfade.
Screams from the valley below. The ground erupts, the fire grows. Satan lies, he already knows. Your fate was sealed long ago. Which goes strike the bell, take the wine. Which
That is so slight, but I'm hearing it, and I'm hearing it every time, so I want to fix that real quick. Yeah, anything that makes my ears perk up, I want to be sure to get it. Alright, so that's about all I've got time for at the moment. Let's see. Peachhead asked about my plugin chain. I'm only using PSP and Finistrip on every channel. And as far as actual chain, it just depends on what each thing needs. Like, I've got nothing on my individual room mics, but I've got my room tracks in a room's bus, and I'm running a stereo instance of Infinistrip, running the 60s preamp, which I just like the saturation, like the way that the drive sounds from this, filtering out some of the low end, and I've got an 1176 style compressor to help catch the snare transients and just keep those suppressed. My room mics, actually, I tend to kind of, I don't necessarily crush them, but they come pretty close. So here's that. Now without processing. So I'm just kind of giving it a bit of a crunchy lo-fi type of vibe. My overheads, same thing, running PSP and Finistrip. Oh, I forgot to filter out some of my low end. Looks like I have not actually done anything on this. We'll do that now. Like the 70s style on this. Filter out some low end. Catching some of the snare transient. And a little bit of widening. So here's without. Very minimal. I've got hat and ride spot mics using mono instances of PSP and Finistrip, and same kind of thing. I'm just using some saturation, a little bit of EQ and compression, and filtering out some of the low end stuff. My ride, if I don't use this, sounds very dark. If I turn this off, so I use that to just remove some of the washiness, I guess people call it, and a little bit of the low end rumble from it. Hats, same kind of concept, just running a mono instance of Infinistrip and filtering some low end and just some shaping, a little bit of compression to help with any snare transients that hit it. Then I've got my cymbals. I've got all of my cymbals. The overheads are in an overheads bus, and then I've got the hat and ride spot mics, but that whole group is inside of a cymbals bus where I'm doing more filtering and EQ and compression. My toms, same thing. I'm running a mono instance of Infinistrip, and in this case, I like to use an expander to help filter out the toms. I don't bother cutting the tracks to where it's just the transient showing, but I'll use an expander to turn it down some when the toms are not being activated. I've not done EQ work on them individually, but on the toms bus, I've done a bit more EQ shaping just on the group as a whole, which actually I want to change that a little bit. I usually like to run it around 800 hertz and dip a little bit. And of course, I've got a spike around 4K with a high shelf to help accentuate the stick attack. And of course, the 60s preamp with a bit of a low end filter to make sure it's not competing with the kick drum. My kick, PSP and Finistrip with a little bit of filtering, EQ and compression, and saturation. Snare top and bottom, they are, I'm not, in a lot of cases, I'll use an expander on them. But in this case, I'm not, because I've got my mic placed well enough to where I'm not getting too much that's bothersome. And then I'll process the snare bus as a whole. Now I've got all of my shells, meaning anything that's not a cymbal, going to a shells bus, where I'm just doing a little bit more. Well, it looks like I've not touched this. I just put it on here and used the analog flavor from that 60s channel, so I'll give that a little bit of drive. And then I've got my drums processing bus overall, where I'm running more of the saturation from the 60s preamp circuit, a little bit of filtering, 1176 style compression to help catch the fast transients from the snare and just keep them in order, an optical compressor to glue the drums together as a whole, a little bit of EQ shaping, some saturation, and a brick wall limiter, which I'll run through this little section real quick. So here is the drums unprocessed. Well, to be more correct, that's the drums without the bus processing. So let me turn that back on and bypass plugins altogether. Now this will probably be quieter, but here's the drums completely unprocessed. So they sound good naturally. And then with the processing engaged, there's just a lot of gentle EQ shaping, some gentle compression, a little bit of glue and some saturation, and of course a little bit of a level boost because I record at pretty conservative levels. All right, well, as always, thank you guys and girls for joining. It is lunchtime for us, so I'm going to check out, and we'll see you next time.